Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into the story of a technology that basically conquered gravity, tamed some of the wildest landscapes on Earth, and fueled an entire industrial revolution. All from a single thin wire hanging in the sky. So picture this. It's the late 19th, early 20th century. The industrial world is absolutely exploding, but it has this huge problem. Factories are just ravenous for raw materials. We're talking coal, ore, you name it. And all this stuff is often locked away in the most impossible-to-reach places.
I mean, sure, railroads were the arteries of this new industrial age, but even they had limits. You can't exactly lay track up a sheer cliff or across a massive canyon. So how do you get all that wealth, all those resources, out of the mountains and into the factories of the world?
Professor Kohler really hit the nail on the head here. The world needed those small twigs. The answer couldn't be on the ground. It had to go airborne. But to weave these spider's webs across the sky, you first needed a thread with incredible strength, a piece of technology that had actually been around for decades, just waiting for its moment.
Right. Before you can build an empire in the air, you need a rope that is not going to snap. For centuries, all we had were ropes made from hemp or other natural fibers, and they were just way too weak for any serious industrial lifting.
So get this, the most critical part of the puzzle, the steel wire rope, was invented a full 40 years before it really took off. It was this powerful solution just sitting there, waiting for a visionary, someone to see what it could really do.
And Wilhelm Albert's invention was a total game changer. By twisting steel wires together, he made a rope that was unbelievably strong and durable. This one innovation basically made modern heavy-duty ropeways not just possible, but, inevitable. Okay. And this is where our main character, Adolf Bleichert, walks onto the stage. Now, he wasn't the very first person to think about building a ropeway, but he was the guy who perfected it. He's the one who turned a niche idea into a global powerhouse.
All right, let's get into this, because this is the core of his genius. The other main system at the time, the English system, used one rope to do everything, which just wore it out fast and couldn't carry much. Bleichert's German system was so much smarter. He used two ropes. A big, thick, stationary cable acted like a railroad track in the sky, and a second, lighter, moving cable just pulled the buckets along. It sounds simple, but this one idea made his system way stronger, more efficient, and able to carry much heavier loads over incredible distances.
And his very first installation proved it. It was a huge success right out of the gate. I mean, it ran for over 40 years. So, based on that win, on July 1st, 1874, he founded the company that would literally change the face of the planet.
So with a better system, a world hungry for resources, and a ton of ambition, Adolf Bleichert and Company was poised to solve some of the world's most impossible transportation problems.
Now here's where things get really clever. Bleichert and his team didn't just stop there. They kept making things better. A real turning point was this invention called the automat clutch. Get this, it used the weight of the bucket itself to tighten its grip on the pulling rope. So the heavier the load, the tighter the grip. How cool is that? This elegant little mechanism made the whole system incredibly reliable and versatile. It could handle anything.
And this is where the story just goes wild. Bleichert's systems went everywhere, into the most hostile environments on the planet. They went to the dizzying heights of the Andes in Argentina. They went through tropical forests in Africa on slopes so steep people thought it was impossible. They built them in the freezing Arctic Circle and even stretched them a full kilometer out over the ocean to load ships. I mean, these sky highways went where nothing else could go, unlocking resources that were completely out of reach before. And the proof is in the numbers. By 1924, his company had installed over 4,000 of these systems. That wasn't just a lot. It was more than all other manufacturers in the world combined. They didn't just lead the market, they pretty much were the market.
And this impact was felt all over. In the U.S., the licensed Trenton-Bleicher system became this quiet, unsung hero of American industry. Just try to imagine it. Massive blocks of marble floating out of quarries in Vermont. A constant stream of ore coming down from the mountains in Colorado. It was everywhere, even helping transport supplies at the West Point Military Academy.
So here's the real takeaway. These industrial workhorses, they did way more than just haul rocks and coal around. They actually laid the groundwork for the world that you and I live in today.
But yeah, the story doesn't stop with industry. Because the systems were so safe and so reliable, it sparked a new idea. I mean, if you can trust this technology to carry tons of ore across a canyon, why couldn't you carry people?
Bleichardt's company took that chance, building some of the world's very first passenger cable cars. And that legacy is still running. The Predicstuhlbahn, built way back in 1928, is still carrying passengers today, which is just an incredible testament to the engineering.
So the next time you find yourself on a ski lift, just gliding up a mountain, or maybe you're in an urban gondola soaring over traffic, just take a second to look at that wire holding you up. You'll know you're not just riding a piece of tech. You're part of a story that started over 100 years ago, with a guy who had this wild idea to build an empire in the air. And it really makes you wonder, right? What other invisible histories are hiding in the things we use every single day?